Hi, everyone, and welcome to our CX Fireside Chat series. Omnichannel isn't optional: how to deliver seamless CX without causing chaos. Today on the call, we've got Tammy, our account executive for strategic sales here at Broadvoice. We've got Nabila, who is currently serving as the Vice President of Enterprise CX Solutions at E78 Partners, and Sebastian, a customer experience and artificial intelligence industry vet and the CEO of Vesuvitas, contact center and AI and CX company. So guys, with all that out of the way, Tammy, I'll let you dive right into it.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Sebastian and Nabila, I'm so happy to have you here today. I think that it's obvious to just get started in the top of mind topic, the hottest topic that we have today. Can you tell us a little bit from an AI in CX and automation? For the first thing that I'd like to know is what common misconceptions do your customers have about AI and CX? Nabila, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Tammy. Thanks for having me today. And, I see this all the time with clients that are looking to go down the transformational journey around CX. And you really can't take a look at any contact center solution without AI getting shoved down your throat. And so I think that there's just a lot of misconceptions around when to leverage AI, having to, jump all in versus finding, one or two solid business cases, use cases, and proving that methodology first. So I think for most clients that aren't leveraging a partner or some type of consulting agency, it can be quite overwhelming and cumbersome for them to take on their own. So that's what I'm seeing in the market.
Perfect. Sebastian, what do you think?
Agreed. I would also probably say that there's some confusion around language around AI, right? Automation, I would consider a category of AI, right? It's the acceleration of the manual functions within a contact center. And then we have the AI tied to the cognitive acceleration of what agents are doing within the contact center. And then we have like the generative AI, which is acceleration of the creative functions within the contact center. And so with the different channels or omni-channel, what we are seeing is that a lot of companies are, because they're excited about AI, they want to go ahead and run and build their own large language model, and they have access to maybe OpenAI or some other ones from AWS, and they want to go out and build a proof of concept. But these proof of concepts typically don't take into consideration all of the channels of communication or the different functions of each of these large language models. And so, like Gartner has stated, about 1/3 of these proof of concepts for large language models would be completely abandoned after proof of concept phase. And half of them will be completely abandoned by 2028 due to complexity, cost, and technical debt that arise from not being able to keep up with everything. So a solution that has like a contact center as a service like you will be able to leverage the specific large language models that are uniquely designed for each of the aspects, like call summary, summarization, call transcription, agent assist, knowledge management, right? And so the cost for these things can be very high cost and high latency, things like generative AI from OpenAI, and you can't just use that across all of your channels and expect a unified solution across your omni-channel environment.
Yeah, and sorry. On Sebastian's point, you touched on a topic that I had to dive into. And any contact center leader or CIO or CTO that I'm speaking to these days, their first question when AI is even approached is, how quickly can I see the ROI? So I think one of the misconceptions in the market is that you're going to implement this new tech solution and boom, within 6 months, you're going to then realize the ROI from the solution. And the reality is unless you have very specific use cases, business cases, and outcome goals that you're tracking throughout the process, the reality is you're looking at minimum 12 months to recognize the value of AI in the contact center space. So.
That's a good point. Some of the ROI, right? So if we look at Gartner's AI use case prism for customer service AI, there are things that are easier to deploy and generate more business value. And by identifying the use cases, like Nabila's talking about, right, we can prioritize those to generate as much business value as quickly as possible so that they have some of that ROI, right, by focusing on some of those items, and then phase out some of the other ones that can then, okay, hey, we had success here. Let's go ahead and roll out some of these other ones according to multiple phases and really start to embrace those things and get that ROI that they need.
Those are both perfect points. And we hear it a lot when we're talking to our customers when they're coming to us. And another misconception I think that we hear a lot of is also balancing automation, right? We hear that from a perspective of automation versus AI, and also maintaining that human touch. So how are you balancing that automation portion and still keeping it human-like from that perspective and the importance of that? Sebastian?
Oh, actually, I'll defer to Nabila.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say, I just came back from CCW last week in Vegas, and I participated in a panel on the human connection versus AI in the contact center with a client. And, it's not a one size fits all, and it's definitely verticalized and, what type of business your client is in. So for example, I used this example last week. Several years ago, I was working with a client that supports all of the national suicide hotlines in the US. And you could never bring in any type of bot or AI into their environment, at least not on the front end. There was opportunity potentially to, leverage like an agent assist, where that you're leveraging the technology to support the agent during that crisis moment. So that's just an example of, ways that you're able to balance AI with the human touch in the CX space.
Nice.
Yeah, to Nabila's point, when you're rolling out these bots, and especially if you have specific use cases like, a high stress emotional environment, right, that has its special considerations. But for the most part, if you're doing these automation engagements or from just a bot perspective, right, we should be forthcoming and telling someone that they're interacting with a bot. I see some companies trying to get away with not doing it. And what you end up doing is you're kind of being disingenuous. And when they figure it out, they feel frustrated. And the more frustrated you cause that customer, the more there's an increase in customer effort score. It's that perception it's difficult to do business with you. And that breeds disloyalty over time from a customer experience perspective. So just be upfront with that. And the customer will give you more grace once you tell them, hey, this is an AI bot. We're going to do the best we can. But also, to answer your question specifically, Tammy, we should immediately have a way of going to a customer service support person, a live person, when they are unable to, the bot is unable to help answer or source the answer to your problem. And customers will use your bots as long as they know they have a path to do so. But if you lock them down and try to contain them and put them in a black hole of no service, that's a terrible idea. Very few companies can get away with that. Maybe utilities, you could probably do that, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we're going to exhaust this topic in the 30 minutes that we have today. But there's so much I wanted, but I'll wait for, the round 2 version of this.
Go ahead. I'm always pressing 0. Like when I call the airline, I don't want to talk to the chat bot. I'm pressing 0 to get through to somebody, and that's just who I am. So.
And that's funny because we're still doing that. A lot of us that know that secret, right? And they're disappearing. So it's like,
that's right. We don't allow that to anymore.
No.
They caught on to us. Or
and
we caught it. Yeah.
the funny thing, Tammy and Sebastian, on this topic is, if you recall, like 4 years ago, before we really had this true AI push, it was all about IVAs. Remember that? It was, let's get an IVA in your contact center. It's going to solve all of your problems. Now it's, let's leverage AI in your contact center. It's going to solve all of your problems. And I don't truly believe that there's, one specific path forward. And like I mentioned earlier, it's specific to the client, who they are, who they're serving, and their business outcomes and goals. So.
No, that's a very good point too, because a lot of times, we hear that my call center is more complex than another, and the end result is that all call centers are complex, right? So there's always something that's different and not one size fits all. So moving on a little bit here from that topic, from the AI topic, let's go a bit beyond that. What are some of the pressing contact center non-AI issues, if we can? What's the biggest non-AI challenge you feel that customers face today concerning complexity? Is it complexity? Is it integration? Is it cost? What are you seeing out there?
You want to take that, Sebastian?
Sure. I would say that integrations are a challenge. Costs definitely are a challenge, especially for labor, which is why we're able to, have an opportunity for self-service to reduce labor costs, which is 80% of the contact center. Customer journey mapping, I think, especially has been challenging, but with the advent of new omni-channel capabilities, and I would even say I'll go into that in the next question because I know it's coming up and not get ahead of myself. And then also reporting, right? Reporting along this customer journey to understand, where did the customer go? What channels did they touch? What channels do they prefer? And being able to start to dive into both profiling and then eventually personalization in a very seamless way. And so starting with a platform that offers them a true omni-channel, even a multimodal omni-channel experience with great reporting will give their customer experience feedback mechanisms a way of being able to target where the gaps are from a customer experience and then focus on those areas. Historically, we've had this multi-channel siloed technology environment, which made it difficult from a business intelligence standpoint to try to patch those pieces together to give you a full picture.
Yeah, and I would take it one step further and just say that there are so many solutions coming to bear in the market, like the evolution of solutions that are available to organizations, to customers, is extremely overwhelming. So, taking it a step further beyond like the integrations, like let's start with the basics. Where do I even start? Most clients will Google, or they go to Gartner and look at the Magic Quadrant. If you're a small to mid-sized organization, you might not need a NICE or a Genesis platform. So having someone to guide you through the process, I think is a huge piece of this for customers, as well as, the topic of workforce management. A lot of clients I'm speaking with are challenged with their WFM tools just because there really aren't that many in the market available to them. You're maybe stuck with 3 or 4 choices. So I'm seeing that quite a bit in clients I'm speaking to these days.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If I could just add on to that, I like what Nabila is saying. Essentially, we're talking about being strategic, and a lot of times, and overall just strategy. We're talking about automation and AI and costs and all these components. Oftentimes, businesses don't understand because they're being inundated by all of these AI solutions from all of these different competing technologies that they have within their tech stack.
Yes.
In many cases, right? The Salesforce AI, the Microsoft AI, the Amazon AI, the all of their CRM AIs, right? And we need to take a step back and really look at making sure that all the stakeholders within the organization are on board with an agreed upon strategy around AI, and that in many cases there should be a centralized component that is maybe speaking to, this is where the integrations piece comes off, right? Speaking to all of these different technologies to help centralize the knowledge and maybe even use their AI for selected components, whether it be Microsoft's AI or maybe a large language model that a customer built for themselves. So that's what I would share there without going too philosophical.
Yeah, that's really good. And you hit on something a little bit earlier. I want to combine these couple of questions here. We talk about omnichannel and we're looking here, they're looking for omnichannel. And then we talk about multi-channel and specific channels, et cetera, and how they work. And I know that there's definitely a difference out there. I think that from that perspective, are they looking for true omnichannel? And also, let's combine this. What's the one overlooked CX feature that more businesses could be leveraging right now? We hit on that a couple of minutes ago.
Nabila?
Yeah. So from channel versus multi-channel perspective, I don't think clients necessarily know what they're looking for just right off the bat. It's like, hey, I want to be able to answer Twitters. I want to be able to respond to social. I want to be able to respond to chat and email. So really understanding if they're looking at wanting real time or synchronization across all channels to really help them understand, are they looking for a true omni-channel solution or is it multi-channel? And furthermore, how are you leveraging the data and analytics that you're gathering from these platforms or from the multi-channel or omni-channel solutions? So that's one piece. And then I would say to your second question, what is a solution that, is overlooked? I would have to say, proactive customer support through predictive analytics. So, imagine if I'm a big Nordstrom shopper. So, imagine if I am returning, similar items, instead of having a reactive response as a, like for Nordstrom's, having a more proactive response, being able to reach out and say, hey, Nabila, we see that you continuously return X, Y, and Z brand. Can you tell us more, what's prompting these returns? That's where I feel like, or I believe that we could really make an impact in the customer experience, is making that, those proactive outreaches versus the reactive when, your customer is upset or their needs aren't being met.
Bingo. Sebastian? Yeah.
I would also say that, each business's demographic for business vertical and et cetera, probably going to be different. So we'd want to zero in on what channels they prefer to use historically, by getting really good data. But, to speak generically, people want to have the same kind of communications experience with a business that they do with their friends and family every single day. And that's that multimodal omni-channel experience where you may be talking on the telephone with someone and you may be sending a text about something funny that happened, or you're sending a meme, or you're sending a picture, right? Or a video link. And you want to be able to share all of those channels of communication concurrently. So that would be, what I would say the trends are going towards. I would say something that is very much overlooked that businesses should be leveraging right now, specifically would be knowledge management. That is the single most positive impact that you can have to both your employee experience and your customer experience at the same time. And it ties back into this multimodal approach, or this omni-channel multimodal approach, because what you want to be able to do is not have to tune all of your AI separately across your chat channel, your voice channel, right? All these different things, and your agent channel. You should be able to do that in an ideal world, most of the time, in one place. This reduces your administrative costs, your employee overhead, and simplifies your speed to market. And when you make a change in one place in your knowledge management solution, it will then propagate it across all of your channels, your voice channels, your chat channels, your agent channels, your FAQs, once it's approved by your human in the loop feedback mechanism. So I would say knowledge management.
That's a really great lead into our final topic.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I love that. And it's definitely more, I feel like more advanced methodology than what I'm seeing for a lot of even really large enterprise clients. They're still stuck at the basics. Like, how do we move off of on-prem to cloud? So it's great points.
Awesome. Awesome. There's a great lead into this last topic, which is the employee experience. You know, that agent experience is the heart of everything. And I think it's often overlooked. And Sebastian, you hitting on the knowledge management piece. How are your customers rethinking that agent experience today in our hybrid, right? A very hybrid environment. Some are remote, some are in a building. You've got high quality, et cetera. So where do you see that? How are they rethinking that today?
More for Nabila. I'll go.
I'll let you jump in.
I would say that both from a knowledge management and these other agent assist tools, where we are able to communicate with our agents and giving them empowerment tools, and also to do it in a way where we're not browbeating them and telling them what to do and, oh, you sound angry, right? Let's not have a parental chaperone monitoring someone as an agent during their everyday work, because that's probably going to lead to more churn than you want, right? But I would say also performance management is key. There's performance management tools that can help you, basically gamification type solutions that can help propagate your culture. And the nice thing about with remote agents, it's difficult. The challenge is there where they're not feeling very engaged with the supervisory teams or their agents around them. And so you can help them feel engaged with some of these kind of gamifying of the contact center. And then also gamification allows you to tweak the KPIs that you as business leaders need to tune and focus on for that given period, next given period of time. If you need this KPI to go up, you can focus on that KPI as part of your gamification and let agents go head to head if they want to, all those kinds of things, whether it be sales or otherwise. So it's a performance management and gamification, predictive analytics tied to performance management as well, where you can actually, there's tools that allow you to predict if an agent is going to resign or churn in advance and allow you to provide coaching opportunities to help engage them and keep them from leaving. AI has some really great things to offer in this area today.
Awesome.
I love that. And I would even, I love that. And I would even say taking a step further by leveraging the sentiment analysis within AI. So to Sebastian's point around not parenting and helicoptering the agents, but imagine if you were in a contact center where, you had the sentiment analysis through AI and you sense through tone that your agent was angry or frustrated, and automatically you scheduled a 5-minute break before they took their next call, right? So you can predict there's some challenges there, and to mitigate any type of frustration, you automatically schedule that break for that agent. On the gamification point, that's huge. There's so many clients that aren't leveraging any type of tool to quote, support their agents and make that experience a little bit better. I've toured some contact centers and they're not the most desirable places to work. And nowadays, everyone's, working remotely as well. So there's a lot of tools that AI can offer to not just support, agent attrition, but just the overall experience, whether it's remote or on site for those agents.
Yeah, that's a great point. And a lot of some of the best contact center agents that we're getting are people who also are remote, right? Because they don't have all of those expenses. And let's focus on something here too, from a perspective of the employee experience. Let's talk a little bit about ROI. We have a lot of different things that we're working with, and how does that, how do you get a measurement on the ROI experience? I have some ideas, but I want to hear what you both have.
You want me to jump in?
Sure.
If you like, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that, really the ROI on the employee experience comes down to better engagement with the agents and reducing the churn and the attrition rates. And that is by leveraging tools like sentiment analysis, predictive analysis for the agent. AI, like Agent Assist, is huge. I know Sebastian mentioned not jumping in as Big Brother, but there are ways to, tune and set up your Agent Assist where it appears very natural and not helicopter mom jumping in. So,
yeah, all good points. I would probably also say that when we're talking about ROI, the return on investment, we really have to look at total cost of ownership and how the total cost of ownership for that, maybe they're coming from an on-premise solution or a hybrid solution to a full cloud solution, or they're going from cloud to cloud. And we can identify exactly what the former costs and the new costs are going to look like, and how that self-service applications based on estimates and really good like CX cloud models can determine exactly what that future state cost is going to look like and how much of a savings can be generated. I think my unique experience is that I started working in a call center many, many years ago. And then I had to support the contact center operations and then design these solutions. So I'm very passionate about this sort of thing. And the one thing that I would say that when we're talking about automation and CX and what the costs are for these things, right? I would say that one thing that we didn't get a chat about today is that robotic process automation is really an extension of automation, and is oftentimes we're seeing now it can be partnered up with these knowledge management solutions, so that you can then, or even with, you can take the next best action automatically to help get that customer to be engaged. So if you're sending something out right now, let them know what is the expectation of when they should be receiving it. If not right now, maybe it's in 7 days, to prevent those additional callbacks from coming into your call center until the time frame, by setting the right expectations. Hopefully we'll get a round 2 of this fireside chat for Nabila and I. We can dive into this further because this is a fascinating topic.
Yeah,
no,
I love that you brought up RPA, because there's very few people that even talk about that application. RPA hit the market 10 plus years ago, and we're starting to see the adoption of RPA along with AI more and more these days. And what I look at RPA and AI as is like, I don't know if you remember 2015, 2016, nobody wanted to adopt cloud. Everyone was like, what is SaaS? Why would I want to do that? I love having all this technical debt. So now we're starting to see the adoption of both and at a rapid pace. So I'm excited to see what the space looks like a year from now with AI in the CX industry.
Well, I absolutely agree. And you both have been fantastic to have on today. I really, really appreciate the time and all of these discussions. It's really important. And we would definitely love to have you back. In the meantime, I want to thank you for your time. And also just for our partners that are on the call, you might want to reach out to your channel managers to find out more about what we have upcoming in our webinar events or any other things that we have coming up in the next few months.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much
for having us, Tammy. Yeah, appreciate it very much. Next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye now. Have a great day.
You too.